शायर से चुनवा के बाद थोड़ा सा
तो इसमें जाती है ना, इसमें पीएफ वाले में तो पता चलता सांस का
फटाफट
108 बार तो मैंने पूरा त्रिपिटक को चांट
वो वैसे आप सामान्य आप शाह चुनवा शाह को तो पत्र बीच ना पूरा मानो क्या मान शाह को तो चुका मान पॉज जरूरी गुड चला मान गाइस भी दीजिए चेस्ट ब्लो आके तो रहेगा अंदर कैसे निकासे स्टीम वसूया तो होता है तो इतना स्टीम है पर ले लेना ही खाता बड़े दिन से नहीं लिया कल नहीं काढ़ा बनाऊंगा कल नहीं काढ़ा बनाऊंगी
घंटी तब 7 बजे इसमें मैंने लगा के रखा
नहीं अब ये तो पढ़ो कि नहीं
क्या 7 बजे का टाइम घंटी
ट्रांसक्रिप्शन स्टॉक છે Evening Chanting, page 14. मैं कैसे बार बार यो सो भगवा अरहं सम्मा संबुद्धो स्वाखातो येन भगवत धम्मो सुपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावक संगो तमयं भगवन्तं सधम्मं ससंगम् इमे हि सकारे थारहम् आरोपिते हि अभिपूजयामा साधुनो भन्ति भगवा सुचिरपरिभूतोऽपि पश्चिमा जनता नुकम्पमानसा इमे सकारे दुर्गतपणाका प्रभूते पटिगह्णातु अम्हाकं दीर्घरतं हिताय सुखाय अरहं सम्मा सम्बुद्धो भगवा बुद्धं भगवन्तम् अभिवादे स्वाखातो भगवता धम्मो धम्मं नमस्सामि सुपठिपन्नो भगवतो सावक संघो संघं नमामि हन्दमयं बुद्धस्य भगवतो पुबभाग नमकारं करोमसे नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स हन्दमयं बुद्धानुसतिनयं करोमसे तं खोपन भगवन्तम् एवं कल्याणो इति सद्दो अभुगतो इति पिसो भगवा अरहं सम्मा सम्बुद्धो विद्याचरण संपन्नो सुगतो लोकविदु अनुत्तरो पुरिसदं सारथि सत्ता देव सानं बुद्धो भगवाति हन्दमयं बुद्धाभिगीतिं करोमसे बुद्धवारहन्त वरतादिगुणाभियुतो शुद्धाभियान करुणा समागततो बोधेसियो सुजनतं कमलं वसुरो वन्दामहं तमर्णं शिरसा जिनेन्दम् बुद्धो यो सर्वपाणिनं शरणं खेममुत्तमं पठमानुसतिष्ठानं वन्दामि तं शिरेणहं बुद्धस्सास्मि दासीवा बुद्धो मे सामिकिस्सरो बुद्धासहं नियादिमि शरीरं जीवितं चिदं वन्दन्तीहं चरिष्यामि बुद्धस्यैव सुबोधितं नत्ति मे शरणं अन्यं बुद्धो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सज्जवज्जेन वड्डेयं सत्तु शासने बुद्धं मे वन्दमानाय यं पुण्यं पशुतं पिध सवेऽपि अन्तराया मे माहेषुं तस्य तेजसा हन्दमयं धम्मानुसतिनयं करोमसे स्वाखातो भगवता धम्मो सन्दिट्ठिको अकालिको एहिपस्सिको ओपनयिको पश्चात् वेदितव्यो विन्योहीति हन्दमयं धम्माभिगीतिं करोमसे स्वाखाततादिगुणयुगवसेन सेयो यो मग्गपाकपरियतिविमोक्षभेदो धम्मो कुलोकपतना तदधारि धारी वन्दामहं तमरं वरधम्ममीतं धम्मो यो सर्वपाणिनं शरणं खेममुत्तमम् द्वितीयानुसतिष्ठानं वन्दामि तं शिरेणहम् धम्मस्साहस्मि दासीव धम्मो मे सामिकिस्सरो धम्मस्सहं नियादेमि शरीरं जीवितं चिदम् वन्दन्तीयं चरिष्यामि धम्मसेवसु धम्मतं नत्ति मे शरणम् अन्यं धम्मो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सज्जवज्जेन वड्डेयं सत्तु शासने धम्मं मे वन्दमानाय यं पुण्यं प्रसूतम् इद सभ्येऽपि अन्तराया मे माहेषुं तस्य तेजसा हन्दमयं संघानुसतिनयं करोमसे सुपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसङ्घो उजुपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसङ्घो न्यायपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसङ्घो सामीचिपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसङ्घो यदिदं चत्वारि पुरुषयुगानि अष्टपुरुषपुद्गला एष भगवतो सावकसङ्घो आहुनेयो पाहुने दक्षिणेयो अञ्जलिकरणीयो अनुत्तरं पुण्यके लोकसाति हन्दमयं संगाभिगीतिं करोमसे स धम्मजो सुपटिपतिगुणादियुतो यो अष्टविधो अरियपुग् सङ्गसेठो शीलादिधम्मपवरा सयकाय चित्तो वन्दामहं तमरिगणं सुशुद्धं सङ्घो यो सर्वपाणिनं शरणं खेममुत्तमम् ततीयानुसतिष्ठानं वन्दामि तं शिरेणहम् सङ्घस्साहस्मि दासीव सङ्घो मे सामिकिस्सरो सङ्घासहं नियादेमि शरीरं जीवितं चिदं वन्दन्तीयं चरिष्यामि सङ्घस्सोपटिपन्नतं नत्ति मे शरणम् अन्यत् सङ्घो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सज्जवज्जेन वड्डेयं सत्तु शासने सङ्घं मे वन्दमानाय यं पुण्यं प्रसूतम् इद सभ्येऽपि अन्तराया मे माहेषुं तस्य सतीजसा
देखो उसको भी ऐसे करते हैं।
पीठ है
नहीं वो चला
नहीं चला, अगर चला है तो चला दो, नहीं है तो कोई जरूरत नहीं चला है। पूरा है ना, अगर है तो चला। क्या मचा लगी,
देखता हूँ अगर मिलता है जल्दी से कुछ बात।
हेडिंग क्या चाहिए? क्या नहीं
अविद्या पच्चया संखारा संखार पच्चया विज्ञानं विज्ञान पच्चया नाम रूपं नाम रूप पच्चया सलायतनं सलायतन पच्चया पस्सो पस्स पच्चया वेदना वेदना पच्चया तन्हा तन्हा पच्चया उपादानं उपादान पच्चया भवो भव पच्चया जाति जाति पच्चया जरा मरणं शोक परिदेव दुःख दोमनस्सुपायासा सम्भवन्ति एवमेतस्य केवलस्य दुःखखण्डस्य समुदयो होति अविद्यायद्वेव अशेष विराग निरोधा संकार निरोधो संकार निरोधा विज्ञान निरोधो विज्ञान निरोधा नाम रूप निरोधो नाम रूप निरोधा सलायतन निरोधो सलायतन निरोधा पस्स निरोधो पस्स निरोधा वेदना निरोधो वेदना निरोधा तन्हा निरोधो तन्हा निरोधा उपादान निरोधो उपादान निरोधा भव निरोधो भव निरोधा जाति निरोधो जाति निरोधा जरा मरणं शोक परिदेव दुःख दोमनस्सुपायासा निरुद्धन्ति एवमेतस्य केवलस्य दुःख Kakandassa nirodho hoti.
Now meditate and listen to discourse by Ajahn Amaro, Getting Off the Wheel.
And today, during the one of the group interviews, conversations with some of you, there was a discussion about the nature of rebirth, and so I thought I might talk about that a little bit this evening. In common everyday discussions, or at least everyday discussions in Buddhist monasteries, if we talk about rebirth, then oftentimes, usually people think of that in respect of past lives, future lives, and more in a what you could call a metaphysical way, beyond the scope of our everyday vision, our everyday perceptions. And that's understandable, and yet when the term rebirth, or the cycle of birth and death, is referred to, the bhavacakka in the suttas, in the scriptures, it's not always referring to a sequence of events over a number of lifetimes. So the Buddha very matter-of-factly refers to past lives, future lives, in many, many instances throughout the teachings. That's a very common way of speaking. But when talking about the process of rebirth and what causes it and how it's brought to an end, particularly the teachings of what is called dependent origination, Paticca sampuppada, the majority of times that the Buddha speaks of that in the suttas, he is referring to more of a moment-to-moment experience. The commentaries, the later discussions or explanations about the Buddha's teaching, there's the Paticca sampuppada, dependent origination, is spoken about more as referring to the process of rebirth over different lifetimes, and yet, so there's a majority of those. One famous Thai philosopher, scholar monk, Tanjokun Payutto, he actually sort of did the calculations on this. Went through all of the commentaries and all of the suttas and looked at all the instances where dependent origination was talked about, and the figure he came up with was that in the commentaries, 2/3 of the references to dependent origination refer to many lifetimes, and 1/3 refer to the momentary experience of dependent origination. And in the suttas, it's the opposite way around. So 2/3 of the references to dependent origination and causality refer to it as a momentary experience, a process that's witnessed in the here and now in this lifetime, and only 1/3 refer to the experience, or describing a pattern that crosses a number of lifetimes, past, present, and future. And in particular, in the current age in Thailand, Ajahn Buddhadasa was a very prominent writer and thinker, teacher. He emphasized the fact that the teachings on dependent origination, the way that it's really useful to us is to understand it and to use it, to apply it to our everyday life, to our moment by moment experience, because the Buddha's teaching is essentially practical, and so the pointing to the use of this teaching and how it can help us here in this lifetime is much more pertinent than talking about its relevance in past lives or future lives. So if you can follow the reasoning of that. So he just confined his discussions and descriptions about that to the understanding of dependent origination, how it describes the arising of dukkha here and now, how that comes into being here and now. And this was very much an approach that Ajahn Chah also followed, and he was very impressed and his understanding was very much in accord with Ajahn Buddhadasa as well, so that this was usually the way that Luang Por Chah talked about dependent origination and how our experience of the sense world gives rise to the feelings of alienation and dissatisfaction and discontent, and so forth. And in one of his most well-known analogies, he said, trying to keep track of the process of dependent origination, which is usually described as a sequence of 12 different segments. He said it's like falling out of a tree and counting the branches on the way down. So if you want to keep track of all the different elements of dependent origination, if you try and keep track of all the different links, they happen so fast. It's like falling out of a tree and counting the branches on the way down. This is basically, it's happening too quick to be able to track it all. But one thing you know is thump, ow, that hurt. So you know you hit the ground and you know it hurts. So he's a very practical teacher, and that's a graphic image that I think is very helpful. So also these teachings on dependent origination, they are involved and intricate, and so I wouldn't try to cover the whole subject just within the space of one evening. In another famous instance in the Mahanidana Sutta, at the beginning of this discourse on causality, it starts off with Venerable Ananda coming to the Buddha and saying, "Yeah, dependent origination. Yeah, this is really important. I really understand it. I really got it now. This is really great. It's as clear can be to me." And as the Buddha usually does in these instances, he says, "Not so, Ananda." He does that a lot. Yeah. Not so, Ananda. Not so. You shouldn't say that dependent origination is as clear can be to you, because this is profound, subtle, deep, abstruse. This is not something easily understood, and so you're an intelligent person, Ananda, but don't say that you understand it. It's as clear can be. Don't be too glib about it. There's a lot of layers and subtleties there that you might not yet understand. So, in brief, what it's describing is how when there is a lack of mindfulness, or when the mind is not aware, then how our experience then leads to dissatisfaction, how it is that dukkha arises. So that the first element, the first link of the whole sequence is that of avijja, ignorance, not seeing clearly, nescience. So that means that when we don't see clearly, then that's the trigger. That what is the root cause of suffering is avijja, not seeing clearly. So if there's vijja, if there's knowing, if there's awareness, then suffering doesn't arise. There might be pain, but the dukkha, that anguish and distress, dissatisfaction will not be caused. But once avijja is there, then that leads to the the fundamental, say, delusion of subject and object, avijja paccaya sankhara, ignorance, conditions, formations. Or as Luang Por Sumedho used to summarize this very succinctly, he said his translation for avijja paccaya sankhara was that ignorance complicates everything. Sankhara means that which is compounded. It means that which is formed. And so you can see this as when there's ignorance, when the mind doesn't see clearly, then this creates the root or the foundation for the subject-object division, and then that strengthens in the next stages of the sequence, sankhara, paccaya, vijnana, so formations, condition, consciousness, conditions, namarupa, body and mind. And again, these are say subtle qualities, and you can spend weeks and weeks, months, years considering how this all works. So I'm quite deliberately skimming over it. I know one eminent monk in Thailand actually has done 2 PhDs on dependent origination. I'm sure he realizes he hasn't exhausted the subject yet, but it's great PhD material. So, but basically, what one very wonderful Sri Lankan monk, Bhikkhu Nyanananda, he calls this the Namarupa Vijnana vortex. So what you can create a mental image of this. So once there's ignorance, then there's the seed for subject-object duality, a here and a there, and that, like a vortex, like a whirlpool, that kind of gets stronger and stronger until that conditions the world of the senses. So the salayatana of the 6 senses are conditioned by that separation between subject and object, the knowing and the known, and then that conditions the 6 senses. And so then, as there is seeing and hearing, smelling, tasting and touching, then that when that's say experienced on the basis of ignorance, then there's a me here who's seeing a thing out there. There's a me here who's hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. There's a subject here and an object there, and the attachment to the senses kind of strengthen that duality. And then when there's sense contact, phassa, then that leads to feeling, pleasant feeling, painful feeling, or neutral feeling. So when there is when something is seen or something heard, smelt, tasted, touched, and so on, then in this particular pattern that the Buddha is describing is that there's a primary reaction, a primary effect of sense contact when one of the sense organs contacts an object, when there is phassa, and then there's an effect from that sense contact. Then there's a raw feeling of pleasantness, painfulness, or neutral feeling. And then when there's feeling, whether it's pleasant or painful or neutral, then that conditions craving. So if it's a pleasant feeling, then that conditions craving, tanha. So vedana paccaya tanha, craving, arises from that. So if it's a pleasant feeling, then based on ignorance, then there's a desire for more of it. And then, or if it's an unpleasant feeling, then it's a desire to get away from it. And then neutral feeling is taken as a subtle kind of pleasant feeling, and so that the mind inclines towards also desire for that. And then craving, tanha, then rapidly escalates. Again, if that's not seen clearly, then craving conditions clinging, upadana, and then clinging conditions becoming. That was going on and on about yesterday evening, bhava. So that in a way, what you can see is like a rising wave of absorption. So first of all, there's a pleasant feeling, and then the mind is say, "Ooh, what's that?" And then, "Ooh, I'd like one of those." And so maybe you can translate yourself into the dining room, okay, just so this isn't too theoretical, so that there you are in the dining room, and you are standing in the queue, and you are trying to be mindful and not count yeah, how many slices of cake there are left. Yeah. Oh. I mean, I know there were 3 cakes the other day, so there was plenty to go around for everybody. But still, that kind of sense object that can be appealing for the hungry mind that's kind of there in the queue, that is, you're trying to be mindful and restrained, and you go, there's only 3 slices left. There's 5 people in front of me. Is he a cake kind of a guy? Is he a cake kind of a person? I'm sure no. He looks like he's probably on a diet. Yeah, I hope he's not. Maybe he's not. So that the mind sees an object, and then there's the craving, and craving leads to clinging. Like I really deserve a piece of cake. I really need to have a piece of cake, and then that clinging conditions becoming like I gotta. And if he takes that last piece of cake, I know there's that first precept, but and so that the mind absorbs into that until getting that cake becomes the only important thing in the world. That's suddenly the whole universe is shrunk, so that tanha upadana bhava, craving, clinging, becoming, it's like the world narrows to that desire object. I gotta have it, I got it. Everything else is put aside. And so bhava is that the quality of the mind so committed to getting its desire object. There's everything else has been put aside, and it's the kind of thrill of riding the wave. And then when you see that person in the food queue, and they've passed by, and you realize, yes, he's on a diet. I'm going to get it. And so that bhava is that thrill of sort of guaranteed getting, acquisition. It's interesting. I often quote this. I find it quite intriguing how when they've rigged people up with little electrodes, galvanic skin response measurers, and they sent them shopping. And so to test when is the moment of maximum excitement in the shopping experience. That it's when you might be surprised that the scientists do this kind of thing, but they do. So measuring the whole process of desire and excitement, it's when you know that you're going to get the desired object. It's when you hand over the money, or you actually got the money in your hand, or the credit card in your hand, and the person behind the counter is accepting it. So you're guaranteed to get the object of your desire, but it hasn't reached you yet. So that is the moment of maximum excitement, when you actually get the thing that you desire. So like when you actually get the piece of cake before you've eaten it, like that when that's already that moment of getting is already the beginning of the disappointment. It's the anticipation when you haven't quite got it yet, but you know you will. That's the moment of maximum excitement. And again, A.A. Milne, a great philosopher of our age, Winnie the Pooh actually has this the same observation. He says, when you've got the honey pot there, and you've got the spoon, and you know that the honey's in the pot, and you're going to get it, that's the best bit, even before you got the honey in your mouth. So that this is bhava, this is becoming, and just as that the Buddha pointed out, this is what the living beings are committed to becoming. They relish becoming. They adhere to that. That's in a way the drug of choice. We love that feeling, because at that point life is very, very simple. It's like, I want it, I'm going to get it, yes! So some of you might be thinking, well, this is all very coarse. I mean, I'm totally beyond that kind of thing. This is, cake and pots of honey, It's very, how sort of inferior, I'm just, that kind of thing doesn't bother me in the slightest. But if we translate that into our own particular value system, like looking to see whether your paper's been selected for publishing in a prestigious journal, or looking to see whether you've got a promotion, or any one of a dozen different ways that we sort of score, we rank ourselves in the world, or how we have our own particular desire objects. The object, in a way, of desire is secondary, but to the actual process of how it works, because all of us will have the particular things that are compelling to us, and that the whole process of desire or aversion, negativity, where the mind picks that up and gets carried away, deeply absorbed into it, and so you can fill in the blanks for yourself. Whether it's if pots of honey don't have any kind of pull on you, but just consider, look in your own mind, your own memory, what things really do, like the achievements of your children, or the like the publication of your books, or the approval of your teacher. When the Ajahn smiles at you, it can be the sort of getting some kind of affirmation or approval, or of any kind. It can be wholesome or unwholesome, but just in that process, the bhava is where the mind is completely absorbed in that, but it hasn't quite got the object yet. And then after bhava, the next one is jati, which is birth, which means that's the point of no return. So that now, okay, you've purchased the item. Okay, now you've got it, and so then shortly after comes the bill, and having got the desired object, or if it's a negativity, having wanted to vent your spleen and complain about someone, or to get angry with them, and you really let them have it. And while you're letting them have it, you're feeling great. This is, he really had it coming. And then afterwards, after the spleen has been vented, and we've unloaded on somebody, then there's the what follows after the stage of jati is sokha parideva dukkha domana upayasa, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. Like as we have in the morning chanting. Sokha parideva dukkha domana upayasa. So that is the having got what we wanted, then along with that, having that condition having been born, having come into being, then we get the whole package. We get the all that comes along with that. So then, in summary, what that means is that we get what we wanted, but then we are faced with the experience of, well, that was really great, but I want some more, or that say with food, if you're particularly hungry or particularly inspired by the activities of the cooks here, doing a fantastic job, well done cooks, that you think, oh, this is amazing, they're incredible, they've done my favourite, this is wonderful, this is marvellous, and the mind is getting so excited about this wonderful dish that and you're getting so enthusiastic about it, before you know it, you're staring at an empty plate. Oh, where did that go? Oh, well, I better have seconds, because I was so excited about the first round that I missed it completely. So I better go and get some more. So when the experience of the sokha parideva dukkha domana upayasa, that sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair, this is just that in all sorts of different dimensions, that feeling of despondency. You got what you wanted, but then it didn't really satisfy you, or it wore out, or it was so sweet at the beginning, and then it turned into hard work, and you thought it was going to be so great, but then you didn't realize you were going to get all of this with it, to be getting the new job or coming on the meditation retreat. Oh, this is fantastic, this is wonderful, this is great. Oh dear. Right, knee pain. How many days is this? And we don't get a day off halfway through? Or? Oh dear. So that whatever shape it takes, that whether it's subtle or coarse, that dukkha feeling, the sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief and despair, again we don't use that kind of language in ordinary everyday world apart from in monasteries. But it's that feeling of disappointment, of desolation, of sadness, of incompleteness, that sense of a barrenness in the heart, and loneliness, or kind of unsatisfied, insecure quality, dukkha, in other words. So, as you can see, it that this process is mapped out in this way. Like Ajahn Chah said, it's like dropping out of a tree. It can happen very, very fast from the mind to sort of being caught by a sense objects. The mind goes, "Oh, that looks interesting," and then hope, and then and then disappointment, or yeah, I got it, and oh dear, I wasn't going to eat any more cake. I'm supposed to be the one on a diet. Oh dear, now I've taken this piece of cake, and there's all these people sitting around me, and I can't just take the cake and sort of leave it there. And oh dear, here we are again. I'll begin the diet tomorrow. Sokapari deva dukkha domanasa upayasa. So the whole thing can happen just literally in a finger snap, just like Lumpur Cha was pointing out, just like dropping out of a tree. So the usefulness of mapping things out in this way and seeing how the process of disappointment or dissatisfaction or alienation works, or how that takes shape, and we have this kind of multi-part sequence, is so we can in a sense understand our own process of experience and learn how to not get caught in that, learn how not to get lost, or not to create the causes of that dukkha, not to get say wrapped up into that cycle. So there's different elements of it, or different ways of breaking free from this, because this is called the bhava chakra, or the cycle of becoming, or the cycle of rebirth, because the usual way that we deal with that experience of incompleteness or loneliness or sadness, that kind of mopey unhappiness, is that as soon as the possibility of another gratification comes around, right, we're onto it again. That's what happens. This is why we call it the cycle of birth and death, or the cycle of endless becoming, because not realizing how it works, the last time that we were really happy, the last time we really felt satisfied, was when we were caught in the thrill of becoming, that kind of riding that wave. And so that then that was really gratifying. And out of ignorance, when we're left in a sort of incomplete, lonely, sad, slightly sort of frazzled and insecure state, then when something pops into our view that has the allure of satisfaction, well that one didn't work, but maybe that was disappointing, but maybe the next one, maybe the next one, maybe the next one, so that we leap towards the next possibility, the next promise, the next desire object, or the next thing that has that aura to it, that says, look, well, this one's different. This is going to be something else. This is really going to work. And around we go. That we chase that next object, or we pursue that particular goal. And it doesn't have to be things that are coarse or unwholesome. It can be like the next meditation retreat, the next the next kind of meditation cushion, the one that's going to enable me to sit for hours without pain. I think they actually do sort of meditation cushions that are impregnated with not exactly morphine, but sort of herbal forms of opiate or kind of steroid, they're kind of sort of organic form of steroid injection that softens your joints and kind of sends this sort of balm up through your aching limbs. I'm not kidding. I think that I've heard that such things are on the market. Yeah. Pain-free zafus, and some of you might be thinking, "Oh, I'll have to look that up." As soon as I get back to my iPhone, I'll Google that and see if I can get one. That sounds really interesting. Yeah. I'm not reading your minds, by the way. I'm just familiar with human nature, and that this is how the mind works. So it's irrespective of whether the object is very wholesome or unwholesome or neutral, but just seeing this is how it works. That the mind gets caught into these cycles of dependency, cycles of addiction. Yes, and that the teaching of the Buddha, what he's trying to do is to help us free the heart from this addictive process. Just like I was saying, that the drug of the main form of addiction is to becoming. This bhava chakra, that's like the cycle of becoming. That's the drug of choice. That's what we are all habituated to, with particular objects occupying that, whether it's a coarse sense pleasures, or whether it's noble aspirations, or caring for your family. In a way, the objects can vary from the ones that are reasonably wholesome to ones that are downright destructive. But the process works in exactly the same way, irrespective of the object. And if we don't understand how the process works, then we're inevitably trapped in that endless cycles of addiction. So the Buddha's teaching helps us to recognize that and to break free from it. And one of the interesting, say that maybe the first point, exit point to talk about, or how to break free from the cycle, is interestingly enough is at the point of dukkha itself. You've already arrived. You've sort of woken up. You've come to barefooted, surrounded by broken glass, thinking, how did I get here? I'm in the middle of this mess again. Now, how did I get into this? Now, what's happening here? And the Buddha said that suffering, dukkha, ripens in two ways. It either ripens in further suffering, like you just keep repeating the cycles over and over again, or you ask that question: how did I end up here? How did this happen? I said I wasn't going to do this. I said I wasn't going to get caught in this again, and here I am again. Now, what happened there? Now, and I know that there must be a way to get out of this. There must be some alternative, because I've been going around and around on this cycle for countless years now. There has to be an alternative. So that feeling, that intuition in the heart that there must be an alternative, like freedom from addiction, must be a possibility. Now that's not necessarily a logical reasoning, but it's more an intuition. And so that that very intuition is what the Buddha refers to as faith, saddha, that suffering can be a cause for the arising of faith. That very intuition that, hang on a minute, this can't be the only possibility, just getting caught again and again and again and going around and around, one thing after another, the same old thing. Now, there has to be an alternative. Now, you haven't figured out what the alternative is, or how to find it, but something in the heart says, there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way to get free from this. So the Buddha points to that. That itself is faith. So the suffering that you're experiencing is a cause for the arising of faith, and then that faith then is a cause for for the sense of delight or gladness. Like, yeah, that's right. There has to be a way. And so then with that quality of gladness and brightening and the sense of possibility and potential that yes, I can break free of this addictive habit, that then that brings about a kind of relaxation, that there's a calming of the body, and that eventually leads to a whole substantial quality of contentment. The body relaxes and the mind arrives at a quality of sukha or contentment. With contentment, then that becomes a basis for concentration. When the heart is content and at ease, then it's easy for the mind to focus on the present moment. When there is contentment, when there is sukha, that's a basis for samadhi. When there is samadhi, then that's a basis, or that's a cause for the arising of insight. That when the mind is able to settle and attend to the present moment and is focused, then naturally arising from that is insight. There's a knowledge and vision of the way things are. That when we are able to attend to the present and we are able to focus on that, when we can see the way that things work, and then with the knowledge and vision of the way things are, then that leads to a letting go, a non-attachment. The heart is no longer seeing that everything is impermanent and empty and not self. Then the habits of attachment, identification are relinquished, and then with that letting go, that leads to freedom and to full enlightenment, full liberation. So this is a particular sutta where he describes this, and it's known as the transcendent dependent arising. So it starts off with the as usual with ignorance, and it goes through the whole sequence: sankhara, vijnana, namarupa, salayatna, pasavedana, contact, feeling, craving, clinging, becoming, sokha parideva, dukkha domana, supayasa, suffering. But then dukkha leads to saddha, leads to faith, and then it sort of breaks off into this whole other branch. Rather than going around and around the cycle, dukkha leading to more ignorance and then leading to the continuing of the rebirth process. Rather, it spins off at the point of dukkha, and that leads to faith and leads to delight and to contentment and concentration and insight and liberation and so forth. So that is in a way the most accessible of all exit points. Just the quality of suffering itself, the quality of dukkha, that's one point to hop off the cycle. More commonly, one of the most or the most regularly spoken of points at which to break the cycle is in the link between feeling and craving, between Vedana and Tanha. So most of the meditation teachers, when they're talking about dependent origination and how the whole process works, they point to this as the weakest link. Because when the mind is just, say, able to focus on feeling, there's still a capacity for substantial mindfulness. That there can be a clear and an unconfused mindfulness with seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and the feeling, a pleasant feeling, painful feeling, neutral feeling. But it's only when the mind is sort of chases after that and buys into trying to get rid of a painful feeling or trying to grasp hold of a pleasant feeling, that's when the confusion really kicks in. And then the whole craving, clinging, becoming, it's like up to the point of feeling, the train is still in the station and it's not moving. Feeling is like you can get on the train, get off the train, go and buy a few snacks, go and look through the news agents, pick up a newspaper. The train is still sitting there. No problem. You can get on the train, find your seat. Once tanha kicks in, then the train has started moving. You can still get off the train. It's not moving too quickly, but then it picks up speed fairly rapidly. So Upadana, then the train is really moving. By the time you get to Bhava, the train is definitely in motion and pulling out the station. You can still get off, but it's going to be really uncomfortable. But by the time you reach Jati, the train is definitely underway, and there's no getting off the train. You can picture that analogy. So when there's the realm of feeling, then that's the easiest point to break the cycle. You can see that there's a pleasant feeling, a painful feeling. The heart is not snagged in it, not caught in it. So speaking of trains, a number of years ago I had a year of a sabbatical year in India, and so I'd been at Abhayagiri Monastery in California. We'd opened it up in 1996, and I was co-abbot there with Ajahn Pasno, and so we had an idea after the place had been open for 7 years, we'd take it in turns to have a sabbatical year. So he suggested I go first, and so I ended up deciding to visit because many times I've been invited to go to the Buddhist holy places, but always on short trips of a couple of weeks or 3 weeks, and I had the idea that if I went to the holy places, I'd like to be able to be there for an extended period of time. So the sabbatical year was offered, and so I thought, I'll go to India, spend a year in India. So then I considered, having got this invite to go to India, spend a year there, so I thought, well, what would be a good theme for meditation? What would be a good theme for practice in India? And I knew a lot of people who travel in India and spent time there, and so that knowing that it can be a very physically demanding place, and also emotionally demanding, particularly if you're attached to schedules and you're a Western rationalist conditioning, and if you're attached to physical comfort and predictability. And just a few years before, actually, in this very room, when Master Hua, great Chinese monk, meditation master, had been visiting here, Ajahn Sujita was planning to go on a 6-month walking pilgrimage to all the Buddhist holy places in India, and we had a questions and answer session with Master Hua in this hall here. And Ajahn Sujita, if I remember correctly, asked a question about some subtle aspect of the nature of samadhi, of the nature of samadhi, and Master Hua ignored his question completely. Yeah, so Ajahn Sujita asked him something about samadhi and concentration, and Master Hua seemingly didn't respond to his question at all. But he said instead, "When you go to practice in the place of the Buddha, do not find fault with anyone or anything." So he didn't know that Ajahn Sujita was planning to go to India and walk 1,000 miles to the Buddhist holy places. But Ajahn Sujita took that piece of advice, and since he was going to practice in the place of the Buddha, going to practice in India, and it literally saved his life. So I took that piece of advice as well. I said, so my spiritual program, my Dhamma practice program for India will be similarly to not find fault with anyone or anything. And so I thought, well, I think also what would be a good theme, something really, really simple. I think when I go to India, I'll spend a year meditating on feeling. I'll just make that my focus, just feeling. And because it's very easy for feeling to condition craving and to go off into wanting to get rid of things that we dislike, or wanting things to be different from the way they are. And so I thought I'll just make it a year to reflect on feelings. So whenever feelings arise, I'll make it my effort just to notice the feeling and not get caught up in whether it's a pleasant one, I want more of it, or an unpleasant one, I want to get away from it. And so that was an extraordinarily helpful practice. I wanted to keep it simple, and that was a wonderfully helpful piece of guidance that I got. And because there you are on the station platform, and then you are being told, terribly sorry, sir, your train is delayed by 18 hours. And then you realize, oh, this is the, we've been here 6 hours already feeling. And this is we've just been told it'll be another 18 hours before the train gets here feeling. That's what this feeling is. So, not allowing the mind to get into, but that's ridiculous, we've been here we've got tickets, and and after all, they promised. And so this is you've just been told it's going to be another 18 hours feeling. And that when you recognize it and just frame it in that way, then it's that feeling. This is what's happening here. This is that particular kind of a feeling, and so you're not letting the mind get caught into all the shoulds and shouldn'ts. Or another interesting one is again, you go to the train station for the 8 o'clock train, and then you find that it's gone already, and you say, well, we've got tickets for the ticketing system is very efficient in India nowadays. Indian Railways is really quite wonderfully efficient, but it can't guarantee satisfaction at all times. And so then going to the station, and you've got your tickets for the 8 o'clock train, and you say, and you're looking for the platform and for the listing of it, and you see that it's listed as having already gone. And so you talk to someone at the station and say, well, we've got tickets for the 8 o'clock train to Mumbai, but it says there it's gone already. Oh, yes, sir, your train was preponed. You say, preponed? Yes, sir, it was preponed. It has gone already. So, what do you mean preponed? It says, preponed. Preponed, opposite of postponed. It has gone already, sir. And that's it, your train has gone. Like, oh, this is I've just discovered a new word feeling. I didn't know there was a preponed. And if you look it up in the Oxford English Dictionary, it actually quotes the Indian Railways. It's in common usage. In India, in Indian English, it's preponed. You don't find it very often in this country, but it is. So that is a very, very helpful practice. And it was also, as I was saying to some people earlier today, how I realized that Lumpur Sumedho had been talking about the meditation on feeling in this way for years and years, and even though I'd heard him say it dozens of times, hundreds of times probably, I'd never really taken the trouble to apply it, because the mind is always drawn into not just staying with the feeling, but adding on to it with all the shoulds and shouldn'ts, and chasing after how it ought to be, or what I want to be, or I'm really glad that it's gone this way, and caught up in all of the implications and the follow-up to a feeling. But just to be able to work with the feeling that's present, so that in a situation where somebody is very upset about something, and they are asking you to fix it, and you're feeling like, oh, I don't know what to do with this, and oh, she's really unhappy, and well, what am I supposed to do about it? And the mind goes immediately into, oh, how can I fix this? Or this person's really upset and is very unhappy, and oh dear, they're asking me to make it all right, and we immediately get caught into, I'm supposed to do something, what can I do? And but if we just say, oh, this is someone's really upset and they're asking me to fix it feeling. That's what this is. And in a strange and mysterious way, when we, rather than gloss over that, if we just take the trouble to notice, oh, this is oh dear, they're asking me to fix it and I haven't got a clue what to do feeling. Then when you acknowledge that's what's here, then in a strange way you enable yourself to attune more completely to what's actually present, and then out of that attunement, then what is appropriate and helpful for the situation can arise. While we're busy trying to figure things out, or just sort of reacting from memory and trying to sort things out just with our thinking, we haven't noticed that experience. We're already sort of caught up in the conceptual proliferations around it. So this is extremely helpful. So like when you're standing in the queue, this is the standing in the queue at lunchtime, trying not to think about that last piece of cake feeling. Or this is the sitting in the Dhamma hall wondering how long Ajahn Amaro's Dhamma talk is going to be this evening feeling. Or this is the how on earth did he know I was thinking about that feeling? So that it's bringing the attention to the actuality of what is present, and by taking the trouble to do that, it gives us a huge amount of space, the quality of psychological space that is always present and always available, but we miss it because we get drawn into just trying to fix that feeling. There's a pleasant one, trying to keep hold of it and take advantage of it, or a painful, difficult one, we're trying to fend it off or get away from it or sort it out or explain it. But to simply bring our attention to what's here, what's present, then we are able to employ the qualities of mindfulness and wisdom. Also in this area, I was reminded of a dialogue between a very much beloved elder Thai monk, Lumpu Dun, who passed away a few years ago, who was known as being an arahant, and he was in his 90s, I think, at this time when this exchange happened, and he was in the hospital, I think it was the first time he'd ever been in hospital in his life, and he was about 92 or 93. And one of his disciples was an elderly disciple was chatting with him and came to see him and said, Lumpu, is it? You might think this is rude of me to ask, but do you still experience anger after all these years? And then Lumpu Dun's reply was, and the Thai for it was, I believe, was me. Damai ao, which means yes, it's there, but I don't receive it, I don't accept it. And they had this kind of very matter of fact, oh yeah, it's there, but there's no place for it to land. The deliveries arrive, but I don't sign for them. That return to sender. And similarly, when the Ajahn Chah was very critical, just like Ajahn Buddhadasa, of fortune telling and amulets and all that kind of side of sort of popular Buddhism, or sort of folk belief in Thailand, and wouldn't really play along with that at all. But and things like palmistry, reading palms and astrology and such like, he wouldn't give much time for at all. One day this fellow came to visit the monastery, and he was a palmist, a palm reader, and he was trying to get a look at Ajahn Chah, and he knew that Ajahn Chah was really anti this kind of thing, but he was desperately trying to get a look at Ajahn Chah's hands, and he was trying to sneak a look and see if he could get a sense of what the lines were like on his hands, and eventually he couldn't resist any longer, and he went up to Ajahn Chah and said, Lumpo, you're probably going to be very upset with me or critical, but I'm a palmist, and I'm really interested. I really admire you and I respect you a lot, but I can't resist asking you, can I have a look at your hands, please? And and you can send me away if you like, but I thought I had to ask because I've come all this way. And so Ajahn Chah gave him a good kind of working over for a few minutes, and told him this was totally pointless and stupid, and this wasn't going to end his suffering for him. But then eventually said, okay. Sort of showed him his hands and said, so, what am I going to do? Am I going to find a nice wife? Or maybe I'm going to win the lottery, And so he's usually putting out a few wisecracks like that. So the fellow looked at his hands and said, oh, ooh. He said, oh, Lumpo, this you have to forgive me for saying this, but this line here, this this says you have a lot of anger. And he said, yes, but I don't use it. So that in that way, these great beings have completely ended ignorance. That the feeling can be there of aversion, negativity, but there's no place for it to land. There's nothing for it to hang on to. So that that feeling of aversion and anger could be there, but then there's nobody signing for it. there's no place for it to land, so that it's not giving rise to any kind of unwholesome action or speech or anything negative from that. So that in the terms of our practice here on this retreat, then this is something that's really helpful to do. Just try to stay in the realm of feeling and watch as feeling tries to drift into craving. And there's a big difference between liking or not liking on the one hand, and wanting and not wanting. They're not the same thing. So that we can hear something or feel something and say, I don't like that. To recognize, yeah, I don't like it, it's an ugly sound or it's a painful feeling, but I don't have to contend against it. I don't have to hate it. So that not liking, disliking can be completely peaceful, or liking can be completely peaceful. But as soon as liking transmutes into wanting or hating, then there's a distortion there. You can't both be peaceful and hate at the same time. That doesn't work. But you can dislike. You can, with the pain in the body and the aches and pains, you can't. There can be a clear sense of dislike, as ow. But we can be at peace with that. There can be a clear sense of ow, I don't like that. But no contention against it, no hatred towards it. So that's a prime opportunity and a really important area of the practice to develop, to see how that works, and to see if you can stay in the realm of feeling. Because feeling is innocent. Feeling is there's no intrinsic confusion or alienation there. There can be a complete and comprehensive quality of clarity and peacefulness in relationship to feeling. Even painful emotions, even like grief or sadness or feelings of loss, that it can even be painful emotions, but you can be totally at peace with them. Even the Buddha had expressed that kind of sadness. When Sariputta and Moggallana had passed away, then there's this very poignant moment in one of the suttas where the Buddha says, he looks around the assembly and he says, it's as if the assembly is empty, and now Sariputta and Moggallana have gone. As if there's a huge gap. The assembly is empty now that these great beings have passed on. So even the Buddha could experience that sense of, my friends have died, they're gone, they're not here anymore. But also he knew how not to make a problem of it. It wasn't there was no suffering on account of that. So the last exit point that I'll just mention very briefly, we don't need to go into it this evening, you'll be glad to hear, is to just not let the whole thing begin in the first place. So that as avijja as the mind's trying to drift into ignorance, just trying to wander off, just to notice that when as mindfulness starts to slip, then to wake up, to not allow avijja to come into being, to not let that that kind of dulling or say that's obscuration to arise. And this is something when the mind is very, very clear and awake in meditation, you can see that sort of pull towards the mind sort of being drawn towards a sound or a memory or a feeling, and it's almost like a sort of a tugging on your body or on your clothes, like. and you can feel the mind being drawn into wanting to attach to this, or wanting to have an opinion about that, or to remember this, or absorb into a like or a dislike, and just seeing that arising of avijja, and just to not let that happen, to not let that complication arise, just to stay with the quality of vijja, just to be that very knowing, and then watching those urges, the sort of the mind trying to lurching towards an opinion or a memory or a sound, and lurching towards avijja, and just saying no, 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 and just not allowing that ignorance to arise. So that's in a sense, that the primary or the most subtle, but also the most complete way of breaking the cycle is just not to let the cycle arise in the first place. So that is enough for this evening. That's all for these thoughts for consideration.
संक्षेप में हिंदी अनुवाद करते हैं। अजान ने शुरू किया इस बात से कि किसी ने एक रिट्रीट का, जो उनकी विंटर रिट्रीट का अभी जो ख़त्म हुई है मार्च में, उसका एक टॉक है कि आप किसी ने पूछा होगा पिछले सत्र में कि रीबर्थ के बारे में, तो उन्होंने कहा कि भगवान ने जो है भवचक्र की बात, जो हमारे इस व्हील ऑफ लाइफ है, बार बार इस भवचक्र में घूमने की, संसरण करने की, वो पटिच्चा समुत्पाद की जो टीचिंग है उसमें उसके बारे में चर्चा आती है। हालांकि उसके भी कई तरह के एक्सप्लेनेशन है कमेंट्रीज़ में। एक तो उसका 3 लाइफ का एक्सप्लेनेशन है और एक उसका मोमेंट टू मोमेंट एक्सप्लेनेशन है। कमेंट्रीज़ में 3 लाइफ एक्सप्लेनेशन ज़्यादा डिस्कस होता है, और जबकि सुत्ता में मोमेंट टू मोमेंट एक्सपीरियंस शायद ज़्यादा है, उसके उदाहरण है। तो उन्होंने बताया कि थाईलैंड में कई जो महान आचार्य रहे, वो पॉइंट टू पॉइंट जो मोमेंट टू मोमेंट डिस्कशन है उसी पे महत्व देते थे, क्योंकि इस समय जो हमें दुख है हो रहा है, जो दूसरा आर्य सत्य है, वो उस बात पे निर्भर करता है कि इस समय हमारे प्रतिक्षण क्या हो रहा है मन में। तो इसलिए उस अजान बुद्धदासा दोनों उसी बात की चर्चा किया करते थे। और सुत्ता की पतिच्च समुत्पाद की गहराई तो सभी मानते हैं। उन्होंने उदाहरण दिया महानिदान सुत्ता का, जिसमें आनंद भंते आनंद भगवान से कहते हैं कि मुझे कब बिल्कुल समझ में आ गया है, और भगवान उनसे कहते हैं कि नहीं ऐसा मत कहो आनंद, अभी बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स है, अभी इसको और काफ़ी तुमको समझने की ज़रूरत है। तो इसलिए अजान ने कहा कि हमको भी वो बात सामने रखनी चाहिए। तो हम उसको, उन्होंने बताया कि वो एक संक्षेप में ही बात करेंगे, क्योंकि इस पर इतनी चर्चा हो सकती है, कोई उसकी सीमा ही नहीं है। तो बेसिकली पतिच्च समुत्पाद जो है दूसरे आर्य सत्य का डिटेल्ड एक्सप्लेनेशन है। और जैसा हम जानते हैं, हमने पाठ भी किया था, वो अविद्या से शुरू होता है। जो ट्रिगर है सफरिंग का अविद्या है। और अविद्या का मतलब अजान ने जैसे किया कि हम द्वंद्व बनाते हैं, मैं और संसार अलग अलग देखते हैं, सब्जेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट ड्यूअलिज्म जिसे कहा जाता है। और उसके कारण फिर जो परेशानियाँ होती हैं, जो हमारा देखने का तरीका है वो बदल जाता है, संसार को अलग तरह से देखते हैं। और जैसे भिक्खु ज्ञानानंद ने कहा कि एक तरह का वॉर्टेक्स, एक भंवर सा बन जाता है, जिसमें हम इंद्रिय जगत में फंस जाते हैं। तो उन्होंने कहा कि इसकी ज़्यादा डिटेल में नहीं जाएंगे। बेसिकली ये समझें कि जब हम सब्जेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट ड्यूअलिज्म में आते हैं, तो इंद्रिय जगत के चक्कर में फंस के हम देखते हैं कि मैं किसी चीज़ को देख रहा हूँ, फिर उसका मुझ पर असर पड़ता है, और संसार के साथ स्पर्श होने से वेदना तक जागती है। तो वेदना तक तो आना जो है वो स्वतः ही हो जाता है, और उसमें कोई हमको अपनी तरफ से कोई रिएक्शन नहीं करना। अगर इंद्रिय संपर्क में आती हैं विषय के, तो वो होता ही रहता है, वेदना तो होती है। अब लेकिन अविद्या के कारण वेदना से के प्रति जो फीलिंग आती है, उसके प्रति हम प्रतिक्रिया करते हैं, और तृष्णा जागती है। और तृष्णा अगर जाग के बहुत बढ़ जाती है, तो उपादान जागता है, क्लिंगिंग जागती है, ग्रैस्पिंग जागती है, हम उसको चिपकाव जागता है, और वो फिर हमको बिकमिंग की ओर, भव की ओर ले जाता है। तो हम दूसरे क्षण में एक नए रूप में उत्पन्न होते हैं, अहम का जो है उत्पत्ति नए रूप में होती है। तो उन्होंने फिर कई उदाहरण दिए, जैसे भोजन की लाइन में लगे हुए हैं, तब हम वेट कर रहे हैं, हम देख रहे हैं हमको ये चाहिए और वो आगे के लोग खाएंगे कि नहीं खाएंगे, उस तरह से मन में जो चक्र चलता है उसके उन्होंने उदाहरण दिया कि कैसे या हम मार्केट में जाएं, शॉपिंग करें, कुछ सामान खरीदें, तो खरीदने से पहले जो खुशी होती है वो भव है, और ख़रीदने के बाद जो है उसमें हम उत्पन्न हो जाते हैं, जाति होती है, और ख़रीदने के बाद ही उसमें जरा मरण दुख हो जाता है, क्योंकि जो भी हम चीज़ खरीदते हैं नहीं देखते हैं उसमें कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ी बहुत कमी नज़र आ जाएगी धीरे धीरे, और फिर वो उसका असर जो है दुख की ओर ले जाता है। तो कई उदाहरण उन्होंने इस तरह के दिए। तो उन्होंने बताया कि अधिकतर बात ऐसा करते हैं जब हमें इस तरह की डिसअपॉइंटमेंट होती है किसी इंद्रिय के साथ रिलेशनशिप में, इंटरेक्शन में, तो फिर हम सोचते हैं अच्छा चलो कुछ और कर लेते हैं जिससे प्रसन्नता मिलेगी। फिर याद करते हैं हमें पहले इस बात से प्रसन्नता मिली थी, फिर उसको करने की कोशिश करेंगे, लेकिन उसमें भी वही बात होती है। तो इस तरह से हम इस भवचक्र में घूमते ही रहते हैं, इससे निकल नहीं पाते। तो उन्होंने बताया कि इससे निकलने के क्या तरीके हैं, कई तरीके उन्होंने कहा, बस एक तरीका तो उन्होंने कहा वही है कि दुख की स्थिति तक ही पहुँच के बाद भी निकलने की संभावना रहती है। और उन्होंने बताया कि भगवान ने जैसे एक सूत्र में कहा है कि जब दुख का अनुभव होता है तो उसके दो रिज़ल्ट हो सकते हैं। एक तो ये कि बहुत उससे दुख की बढ़ोतरी हो अगर हम उसको ठीक से नहीं समझें। दूसरा ये हो सकता है कि अगर हम उस दुख को इन्वेस्टिगेट करने की सोचें कि भाई ये क्यों हो रहा है, कोई ना कोई तो तरीका होगा, और ये बात अगर जैसे हमारी समझ में आने लगे तो दुख से निकलने का एक मार्ग तैयार हो जाता है, क्योंकि एक कॉन्फिडेंस जगता है, एक इंट्यूशन जगता है कि हाँ कहीं ना कहीं रास्ता तो होगा, और वो फेथ जागता है, और उससे फिर प्रमोद जागता है, सुख जागता है। और एक पूरा जैसे उपनिषद सूत्र में जो समझाया गया है, जिसको अंग्रेज़ी में लोग ट्रांसलेट करते हैं ट्रांसेंडेंट डिपेंडेंट ओरिजिन, बेसिकली सूत्र का नाम उपनिषद सूत्र है कि प्रॉक्सिमेट काजेज कैसे चेंज होते हैं। तो प्रीति जब हमारे में कॉन्फिडेंस आता है तो प्रमोद जागता है, फिर सुख जागता है, एक समाधान होता है कि हाँ अब मैं आगे बढ़ सकता हूँ। फिर अगर हम कंसंट्रेशन करते हैं तो समाधि जागती है, और फिर उससे इंसाइट जागती है, हम ठीक हो, चीज़ें जैसी हैं वैसी देख पाते हैं, यथाभूत ज्ञान दर्शन। और जब हम चीज़ों को जैसी हैं वैसी देखते हैं तो फिर हमें मालूम पड़ता है कि ये सब अनित्य है, इनके प्रति अटैचमेंट करना ठीक नहीं है। तो अटैचमेंट छूटने लगती है और निर्वेद भाव जागता है, संसार के प्रति जो अट्रैक्शन है वो कम होने लगता है, और फिर उससे वैराग्य जागता है, और वैराग्य से मुक्ति मिलती है। तो ये एक उपनिषद सूत्र का मार्ग उन्होंने बताया जो बहुत आसानी से एक्सेसिबल है सबके लिए हो सकता है। दूसरा उन्होंने कहा जो डिस्कशन जनरली फील्ड में होता है, मोनास्ट्रीज़ में होता है, या इवन सूत्रों में और कमेंट्रीज़ में है, उसमें मोस्टली ये कहा जाता है कि वेदना पच्चय तन्हा का जो लिंक है उसको हम तोड़ सकते हैं, क्योंकि वो सबसे वीक लिंक है। और उसको हम उन्होंने उदाहरण दिए ट्रेन के ऊपर चढ़ने की तरह, कि किस तरह से वेदना जब जागती है विभिन्न कारणों से, तो अगर हम उसको ठीक से देख पाएँ और उसके ऊपर प्रतिक्रिया ना करें तो वहीं पे गाड़ी रुक जाएगी, और आगे दुख की ओर बढ़ेगी नहीं। कई उन्होंने फिर उदाहरण दिए अपने ट्रेन के, भारत की ट्रेन के सफ़र के, किस तरह से उनको स्टेशन में पहुँचे तो पता चला कि ट्रेन 18 घंटे लेट है, तो उन्होंने उसको देखा, उसके प्रति गुस्सा होने के बदले अच्छा मेरी ये फीलिंग हो रही है। एक और बार गए तो ट्रेन जा चुकी थी, फिर उन्होंने देखा अच्छा ये फीलिंग हो रही है। तो इस प्रकार से फीलिंग्स पे ध्यान करके उन्होंने कहा, एक साल जब वो सबैटिकल पे भारतवर्ष में रहे थे होली प्लेसेस के अंदर, तो उन्होंने साल भर का उनका प्रयोग यही था कि मैं सिर्फ फीलिंग को देखूंगा, तो देखता हूँ कि मैं क्या फीलिंग को देखने में सक्षम हो जाऊँ, ताकि फीलिंग आगे तनहाना में ना बने। तो उन्हें फिर बाद में उनको ख्याल आया कि उनको समय तो इस बारे में सालों से कहते आ रहे हैं और हम सुनते जा रहे थे, लेकिन हमने उसको कभी प्रैक्टिस करने का कष्ट नहीं किया। तो उनको लगा कि ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण बात है कि, और हम सबको भी इस बात पे गौर करना चाहिए। अपने अनुभव से भी थोड़ा बहुत हम जानते हैं कि अगर हम वेदना को ठीक से देख पाते हैं, किसी परिस्थिति को, कई बार मन की वेदना है कि आँखों पे देखने की कोई सुंदर चीज़ लग रही है, या रस पे कोई खाने की चीज़ पे वेदना जाग रही है, तो जो फीलिंग है अगर हम उसको देख पाएँ तो फिर प्रतिक्रिया होना काफ़ी रुकने की संभावना होती है, सती और प्रज्ञा जाग सकती है, और फिर हम अप्रोप्रिएट रिस्पॉन्स कर सकते हैं। और जैसे उन्होंने कहा कि किसी भी चीज़ के साथ प्रति किसी को लाइक करने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, लेकिन लाइकिंग नॉट लाइकिंग कैन बी पीसफुल, बट अगर लाइकिंग के प्रति वांटिंग शुरू हो जाती है तो फिर दिक्कत होती है। तो वो लाइकिंग से वांटिंग का जो ये मुझे अच्छा लग रहा है, ये मुझे चाहिए, इस दोनों के बीच में जो गैप है उसमें अगर हम तभी रोक सकते हैं जब हम अच्छा लग रहा है उस बात को वहीं पे जाके रोक सकें। तो वो मन की स्थिति भी हो सकती है कि मन में दुख हो रहा है, वो अप्रिय फीलिंग, वेदना हो रही है, और फिर हम उसको देख रहे हैं और वो आगे बढ़ने नहीं पाती। उन्होंने उस बात का उदाहरण दिया भगवान के मन का भी है। जब सारे पुत्र मुगलान चले गए, महापरिनिर्वाण हो गया, तो एक सुत्ता था जो हमने भी कई बार चर्चा की है। भगवान कहते हैं कि ये सारी असेंबली खाली लग रही है मुझे, क्योंकि 2 महान साधक जो हैं चले गए हैं। तो उनके मन में भी उस बात का एक लाइन, वो उस फीलिंग को लाइक नहीं कर रहे थे, लेकिन उन्होंने उसको वांटिंग में बढ़ने नहीं दिया। तो हमको इस तरह से साधना करनी चाहिए, उन्होंने बताया। उसके और उदाहरण दिए लुंगपोर दून का और लुंगपोर चा का, कि उनको किसी ने पूछा होगा और बताया होगा कि आपके मन में क्रोध है, तो उन्होंने कहा हाँ क्रोध है, लेकिन मैं उसको एक्सेप्ट नहीं करता, ये क्रोध है तो मैं उसका इस्तेमाल नहीं करता। तो इस तरह से मतलब वेदना जागती है लेकिन उस पर प्रतिक्रिया नहीं करते। और तीसरी बात उन्होंने कही कि जो बेसिक मूल है कि अगर हम अविद्या को ही ना बढ़ने दें तो शायद दुख चक्र चलेगा ही नहीं। उसके लिए हमको सजग रहना होगा कि जैसे ही अविद्या बढ़ने की कोशिश करे वैसे ही हम माइंडफुल हो जाएं और अविद्या को बढ़ने ना दें। देखने में सिर्फ देखना हो और वो अविद्या जो है वहीं पर रुक जाएगी। तो फिर सबसे सक्षम तरीका है, स्ट्रॉन्ग तरीका वही है कि हम दुख के होने के बाद उसको रोकें। इससे अच्छा है कि दुख को होने से ही रोक दें। अगर हम अविद्या को जैसे अविद्या जागती है उसको देख सकते हैं तो उसके लिए काफ़ी अभ्यास की बात है। और ख़ासतौर पे मेडिटेशन रिट्रीट के समय पे तो ये संभव होता है, जैसे अविद्या जागी हमने उसको देख लिया और वो समाप्त हो गई। तो ये संक्षेप में आजान का सर्वोच्च अभ्यास है। हम ब्रह्म विहारों का अभ्यास करते हैं। पहले मैत्री ब्रह्म विहार रोज की तरह, अहं अवेरो होमि अव्यापज्जो होमि अनिगो होमि सुखी अत्तानं परिहरामि। अपने प्रियजनों को याद करके आचार्यों को याद करके मम माता पितु आचार्या च ज्ञातिमित्ता च स ब्रह्मचारिणो च अवीरा होन्तु अव्यापज्जा होन्तु अनिगा होन्तु सुखी अत्तानं परिहरन्तु। अब हमारा उस पृथ्वी का आरक्षण करने वाले दीक्षाओं के प्रति आरक्षा देवता, भूमट्ठा देवता, रुखट्ठा देवता, आकाशट्ठा देवता अवीरा होन्तु अव्यापज्जा होन्तु अनिगा होन्तु सुखी अत्तानं परिहरन्तु। अब समस्त प्राणियों के समस्त मनुष्यों मनुष्योत्तर और प्रयास करते हैं उसमें उनको भी इंक्लूड करने का जिनके प्रति कोई नाराज़गी है। सब्बे सत्ता सब्बे पाना सब्बे भूता सब्बे पुग्गला सब्बे अत्ता भाव परियापन्ना इत्थियो सब्बे पुरिसा सब्बे अरिया सब्बे अनरिया सब्बे देवा सब्बे मनुष्या सब्बे विनिपातिका पवीरा होन्तु अव्यापज्जा होन्तु अनीगा होन्तु सुखी अत्तानं परिहरन्तु। करुणा ब्रह्म विहार अपनी परेशानियों को याद करके, प्रियजनों की परेशानियां याद करके और बाकी सब अनजान तटस्थ लोगों की परेशानियां जो लाखों करोड़ों की संख्या में हैं, उनको याद करके मन में करुणा जागती है और ये शुभेच्छा जागती है कि सबके दुख दूर हों। जिनके प्रति नाराज़गी हो किसी कारण से, उनके प्रति अगर मैत्री नहीं जगा पाते तो करुणा जागे कि देखो अज्ञान के वश वो गलत काम कर रहे हैं, तो उसका फल उन्हें भोगना पड़ेगा, तो उसको याद करके करुणा जगा सकते हैं। सभीतियो विभजन्तु सुखो रोग विनश्यतु माते भवतु अन्तरायो सुखी दीर्घायुको भवतु सुखी दीर्घायुको भवतु सुखी दीर्घायुको भवतु। कृतज्ञता ज्ञापन सबके प्रति जो सेवा के कार्यों में लगे हुए हैं, खास तौर पे मेडिकल स्टाफ, डॉक्टर्स, सभी सुरक्षित रहें, स्वस्थ रहें, कोई व्यवधान ना आए उनकी सेवा कार्य में, लोग उन्हें परेशान न करें। अपने सभी पुण्य जो हमने आज तक किए हैं उन सबको याद करके इन सभी के साथ और फिर अनंत प्राणियों के साथ साझा करते हैं। पुण्यंसेदानि याना अन्यानि कथानि मे ते संच भागिनो होन्तु सत्तात्मत्तमानका। मुदिता ब्रह्म विहार सभी लोगों की, जो लोग खुश हैं उनकी खुशियों में शामिल होते हैं। यदि हमें मालूम है कुछ लोगों के बारे में, उनको याद कर सकते हैं, वरना जनरली जो लोग बीमारी से मुक्त होके, निरोग होके प्रसन्न हैं, उनको मन में याद करके प्रसन्नता में जुड़ सकते हैं। ये कामना करते हैं कि वो सब प्रसन्न रहें, कोई बाधा ना आए, उनकी प्रसन्नता, सुख संपत्ति उनसे छूटे ना। यथा लब्धा संपत्ति तो मां विगच्छन्तु। अब उपेक्षा ब्रह्म विहार, पहले के तीनों ब्रह्म विहार कन्वेंशनल रियलिटी पे आधारित थे। मैं और मेरे का भाव, तुम और तुम्हारे का भाव, मैं तुम। उपेक्षा भाव को हम बुद्धि के अंग के रूप में भी ले सकते हैं, हालांकि उसको द्वैत के हिसाब से भी, कर्म सिद्धांत के हिसाब से भी समझते हैं पहले, और फिर उसको लोकोत्तर प्रज्ञा के रूप में ले आते हैं। तो जो लोकीय प्रज्ञा है, कर्म सिद्धांत, उसको याद करते हैं, क्योंकि उससे लाभ ये होता है कि अगर अपने दुख का कारण हम किसी और को नहीं मानते, ये समझते हैं कि दुख का कारण मैं ही हूँ, तो जो रोष जागता है, नाराज़गी जागती है, उससे मुक्ति मिल सकती है। और जो खुशी आई है उसमें अहम नहीं जागता, क्योंकि समझते हैं कि ये पता कितने कर्मों का फल है। कम्मस्य का कम्मदायादा कम्मयोनि कम्मबन्धु कम्मपटिसरण यं कम्मं करिष्यन्ति कल्याणं वा पापकं वा तस्य दायादा भविष्यन्ति। और लोकोत्तर प्रज्ञा यो अर्य सच्चान अवेच्च पश्यति, उससे लोकोत्तर प्रज्ञा जागती है और सचमुच में हम समता में स्थापित हो जाते हैं। तो हम सब जो दुखी हैं या सुखी हैं या तटस्थ हैं, उन सब के मन में ये लोकोत्तर प्रज्ञा जागे, सम्यक दृष्टि जागे, ऐसी शुभकामना करते हैं। सर्वे सत्ता सुखी होन्तु, सर्वे होन्तु च खेमिनो, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा किञ्चित् पापमागमा, किञ्चित् सुखमागमा, मा किञ्चित् दुःखमागमा। भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं, रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता, सर्वबुद्धानुभावेन सदा सुखी भवन्तु मे। भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं, रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता, सर्वधर्मानुभावेन सदा सुखी भवन्तु ते। भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं, रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता, सर्वसङ्घानुभावेन सदा सुखी भवन्तु ते। अरहं सम्मा सम्बुद्धो भगवा बुद्धं भगवन्तं अभिवादेमि। कतो भगवता धम्मो धम्मं नमस्सामि। भगवतो सावक संघो संघं नमामि।